One of the issues that Callum Smith had against Canelo was his offense and his inability to get off. Canelo was able to pull back, but why? Well, have a look here. You'll see that Smith feints, then takes a big step, slides his head over to the side, and then throws the right hand. But if it's a slashing right hand, it's actually the elbow. The right elbow flares out, and Callum, when he throws his right hand, lifts the right elbow up. You'll see it here. And when fighters do that against the best fighters, when that elbow flares like that, it allows them to see what's coming, and hence why Canelo was able to pull back on it, because this right elbow flares up and out, allowing Canelo to see what's coming. So here again, you'll see he'll touch with the left glove, he'll feel for the range, and then he'll take a big step. And when he takes that big step, it's so exaggerated that, again, like with the elbow, you're able to see what he's going to do. You'll see it with the uppercut here as well. And Canelo's able, as soon as he makes that big step with the lead leg, Canelo drops back out, takes that range away from him. It's very exaggerated. And what Callum, see there, the touch of the glove, Canelo knows what's coming. He's able to shift back out of range and get away. Callum needs to work on being able to shorten up his feet and work off of feints, and then focus on the first, second, and third phases of attacks, not just thinking about phase one. Before I touch on the jab, I want you to look at the feet of Canelo. Watch the footwork. So you'll notice how he keeps positioning his lead foot on the inside of the wide stance of Callum Smith. Callum Smith has a wide gait. So what Canelo's doing is moving clockwise, which he normally does do. Remember, when he attacks fighters when they're on the ropes, he tends to attack from the left to centre of the opponent, and he leaves that little bit of space for them to move across to their right. But he channels fighters towards his right side, but he forces them onto the ropes and he attacks from the left. So he leaves that bit of space for Smith to exit, and that was a reason why Smith was able to get through the fight, because Canelo never truly trapped him, because Canelo leaves that exit there. But what I want you to look at is the footwork and see how Canelo's constantly got his lead foot on the inside of the stance of Smith. Smith has a wide gait, but also he has wide gloves. He doesn't move his head a lot, and he's got that seam through the middle. By Canelo doing that, he's positioning himself to land that jab like there, because he's down that line. And he's able to land straight through the middle with the superior speed. So defensively, Canelo is so versatile. He uses glove defense from parrying to blocking to wedge. He uses different techniques with his gloves. He also uses head movement, such as evasion techniques, pullback, roll, slip. He'll bob and weave. He will do different techniques and then use his feet to evade as well, such as a little shift back to take away the range from his opponent. He's so versatile that someone like Callum Smith, who is psychologically needs to land the first punch, he needs to land the jab, or he needs to land the jab to the backhand in order to feel confident to step in with the right hand left hook. He took that away from him. He took that first punch away from him in order to make him feel uncomfortable, to force him out of his base, to make him feel like he's going to have to back off a little bit more. And this is all down to Canelo's head movement, glove defense, and foot defense, by using his feet to move in and out as well. And look at this constant pressure. And he's forced Smith back without even really throwing anything. And this is why young boxers especially go away and learn how to defend yourself before throwing punches. Go away and learn how to stay balanced. Work on your footwork, your balance, and your defense. The rest will come. And this is why fighters need to work on it, because this defense here, you saw one fighter that was constantly reliant on using glove defense against a fighter that was able to use everything, every tool in the book he was able to use. And he hardly threw a punch before getting Smith to the ropes. And you'll see it a bit more sped up here. He puts his head in different places, but he's constantly keeping Smith under pressure. He's creating angles for that jab. He's making Smith punch without even doing anything. That mental pressure causes that fatigue. Just to look at the footwork of Smith now, which was a problem. Canelo is very methodical, but he focuses on his positioning in the ring and he positions his opponents. Smith didn't take any notice of that. He just kept moving in the same direction, kept moving clockwise, kept being forced around the ring and being positioned. You can see at times when Smith doesn't land his punches, he falls off balance, so he has to break base constantly. You see here how he has to keep resetting and he's not in a position to punch. He squares himself up on the ropes. He's not in positions to punch here, guys, and that is a problem. He didn't change his foot speed up. He was never able to turn Canelo and move and get himself back to centre ring. As soon as he lost that position where that Hennessy sign is in the middle of the ring, as soon as he lost position there, he was then being manoeuvred around the ring. He used far too much of the ring because of his wide stance. At times he was being edged back to the ropes without Canelo even really doing much from a jabbing point of view or a pressure point of view, and he was just up against the ropes. He didn't give himself enough space to move back and then change that foot tempo up, and that was the reason why he was being positioned and bullied. Seeing these clips, he doesn't change his tempo, he doesn't give a little feint one way and then the other, like Peter Fury was mentioning. See how wide his stance is, and as soon as he takes a step back with that right leg, he's already getting quite close to the ropes. And then he isn't thinking about cutting the angles, he's just moving back in straight lines. He didn't think about turning Canelo and then recentering and getting himself back to the centre of the ring. He was just constantly focused on what was in front of him. And you see here, he edges back and he edges back, but by the time Canelo starts to press within a few steps, he's breaking his base, he's having to reset, and he's up against the ropes. And you see here, Canelo, all he's doing is positioning his head, giving him different little looks, and Smith is up against the ropes. And there is an exit, but his feet are too slow in order for him to get into that space. Canelo always, all night, left that opening for him to Callum Smith's left to Canelo's right. He left it there for him, but he just wasn't quick enough to get himself into those spaces because of his feet. His feet were too slow, and that was the problem on the night. Everything was too slow, too predictable, and he was in with a man that just was far superior, no matter an injury or not, just a better fighter.